Before we begin, thank you very much to Convoy of every conceivable size ever for pitching in over on Ko-fi. So that's a lot of sizes. We've covered a lot of sizes already. I don't think you need to cover every single one at the same time. Leave a few sizes for everybody else, my dude. But thank you very much for pitching in. I do appreciate the support, as usual. I say it every time because it's absolutely true. It's what keeps the daily content coming and keeping it all, somewhat on track, I guess. Okay, so it's Monday, it's time for the news roundup, and hey, we just got done with Toyfair, so there's a ton of news. We did a whole video on it, and now I have to do a whole video with a bunch of updates, thus the news. So we're going to cover everything I possibly can, including stuff Takara announced, and we're going to start with the announcement of the Apology Tour. This is what the whole hype campaign thing was building up to. It was basically Hasbro officially stating that they are sorry for killing Optimus Prime back in the day. I'm of the mindset that the brand ultimately is better because they killed off Optimus Prime, because it let them do different and new things. It turned them on to like how important the characters have become and what the real popularity of the franchise was. Opened the door to nostalgia products. I don't think you would have seen Power Master Optimus Prime if it wasn't for the demand for Optimus Prime to come back. A lot of different factors going on here, but this is what they've done. It's very tongue-in-cheek. They did a video with a bunch of clips from fans that were sent in. A few I recognized in there. Sadly, nothing from me. Didn't exactly get the tweet on that one. Didn't get a memo on that one, unfortunately. I think it was very, very unfortunate they did not take my submission, because I thought my use of Betty Crocker muffin mix was very creative. Don't ask. Oh well. But neat nonetheless. Let's talk about the stuff they announced. Now, did a whole video about this, but now it's time to go on about the updates, because not only did they reveal a little bit more at Toyfair, they also did a pulse stream to recap everything, meaning we got updates on all of it, including the Matrix of Leadership. At $125, this is more expensive than I expected it to be, but it is very, very large. Actually, maybe a little bit too big, but Mark did explain that trying to get a universal size that would work for kids and adults was very difficult, especially when the goal was to make sure it was accurately shaped and proportioned, but also you could fit your fingers through the holes like you're supposed to be able to do. That was the challenging part, and that's why it's just a little bit bigger than I would like. But beyond that, it is very, very impressive. I think if I have any criticism, it might be that I wish the handle was also metallic, but that's a minor gripe at that point. So they revealed a few other things about it, and there's some things you can only appreciate in motion. So number one, it works on AA batteries, but there is also a USB port in the back, so that if you want to display it with lights on, you can do that simply through a USB plug-in instead of burning through your AA's, which is a neat little idea. That's a very handy thing to include. And if you want to display it while closed, there is a piece that comes off of the back to reveal that port. Very thoughtful design piece right there. There's a button, like one of the, what do we call them? One of these pieces here, one of these little like pop-up silver pieces. That's the button to turn the lights on in the first place. And when you first turn it on, it plays a piece of the music from the Death of Optimus Prime, specifically that really like angelic part where the Matrix first appears. Really, really cool touch. Speaking of, yes, when you open it fully, it does play the touch. Now, maybe this is me having way too many years with Kamen Rider toys that try to get this as clean as possible, but I do wish there was just a button, or like it would start playing as you opened it rather than once it was completely open. Just because, like, thematically, I want that music to hit as I'm pulling it open, or as I'm holding it. and then I open it when I want to open it. You know when I want to open it? I want to open it at the part Rodimus opens it for the first time, right when it hits that segment of the song. Like, that's when I want to open it, just like in the movie. Still, really, really cool that the touch is in there. I'm eager for someone to get this in hand so we can hear how much of the touch is in there. They also showed off that you can display it in the base opened, which is also really, really neat. It's a beautiful piece. It's a very expensive piece. I'm gonna have to afford. I'm gonna have to do a lot to afford this. I don't care. I'm gonna sell my teeth if I have to. Not that anyone's gonna pay a lot for my teeth, but I don't know. Whatever gets me closer to this price point. Oh, the cool thing that you can only see when it's in video, that's not a static LED light. There's a sequence in there. It's motion. Like there's moving LEDs in there, so it looks alive. It's so cool. It's so much. Just that alone means there's so much more going on internally than you think. And the fact that I can still open up and still do that, that's impressive. I don't want to understate like how much work went into like the electronics of this, because it might seem simple. It's really not. So that's where your price point comes from. As me play devil's advocate, as I accidentally open a tab trying to click away. I'm looking forward to this a lot. A lot. We're gonna bop around here in a little bit. I think the next thing we need to talk about is the Astro Train controversy. So we saw how bad that toy looked right out of the box the first time we saw it. The stock photos of it are pretty terrible. Now, there's some good news here. Number one, as you can see, there is an alternate chest configuration where you can actually have the toy accurate spoiler chest if that's what you prefer. It does leave a hole in his gut, which is unfortunate, but it is a neat trick to be able to do if that's how you prefer your Soundwave. Or Astro Train. Why did I say Soundwave? It's been a long day. However, we also have a cartoon accurate chest. This is what we pretty much suspected. I did kind of point out that, like, yeah, it looks mistransformed. It looks like these pieces fold down. They do. And it's still not, like, spot on cartoon accurate, but it is an improvement. I think what I'm just starting to get from this Astro Train is it's just a little bit svelte. It's just like a little bit scrawny. Like the arms are a little bit thin. The legs are a little bit thin. I tend to think of Astro Train as like a meatier, thicker transformer. There is one other bit of good news with him, however. So as it turns out, the shuttle mode is pretty much as is. You know, that's going to be, I don't know why the shuttle mode keeps, you know, fouling up every time they do an Astro Train. It just does. I mean, it doesn't, like, it's like every other Astro Train, modern Astro Train toy. The back end looks terrible, but it is what it is. That said, turns out the train mode was also horribly mistransformed in the stock photos. This looks way better. I would almost call this an improvement. I think I like the look of this train mode better than I do the Siege figure. And guess what? Because we get them so rarely, the train mode's more important to me than the shuttle mode. Meaning, yeah, I'm probably getting this Astro Train after all. They showed off something cool too, which is the linkage on his wheels all like completely works. It rotates when all the wheels are moving. That's a really cool little thing to throw in. It's weird, like between that and the smoke, it seems like they really cared about that train mode. Of course, Japan loves their trains. And then the shuttle mode is what it is. I mean, I do like the toy better than I originally did, than I originally speculated on. But yeah, it's a little bit. It's still rough. It's still rough. I think it's an improvement though. We might do a video sometime this week that is just talking about this because a lot of people are still talking about, you know, how rough this toy came out. There's a history of weird Astro Trains, I guess. So before we move on, we also do want to point out they did reveal Skywarp is the next of the Seekers. They showed him off. The colors are spot on. It's because it's Skywarp. It's hard to get it wrong. It looks really, really good. And during the Pulse panel, or I guess the Pulse stream rather, they did start talking about which other Seekers they wanted to do. They confirmed Starscream is coming this year. They also decided to announce that they are going to look into the tertiary Seekers next, or the secondaries rather. Who is most important? Who needs a figure to repaint first? And I think the one mentioned the most was Sunstorm, which is the one that the Earthrise mold never became. So that'd actually be really, really cool to them to do. Oh, speaking of the upcoming plans, since I kind of whiffed over this, they also talked about doing new roleplay items after the Matrix. They indicated that they were planning one for 2027, which has me believing these will be an annual piece that they keep making more of. They said they already know what it's going to be. That's another thing we have to speculate on, what the next roleplay item is going to be next year. So we're going to have some fun with that later on. So there you go. That's some of the updates, but we got a few more. A lot of in-hand photos coming out for Liege Maximo, showing off his range of articulation, his size. He's actually bigger than Megatronus, which is shocking to me. So yeah, he would be the biggest of the primes if it wasn't for Star Optimus, and I'm still kind of in the mindset there really should be some alternate 13th prime that isn't a giant compared to the rest of them, because I don't think it makes sense for, like, Optimus Prime to be the 13th of the Titans, you know? If every prime represents a different type of transformer. There's the flying avocado mode. Does look pretty beefy. And then there's a few other photos that Mark Marr provided, which includes how to use his back piece as extra weaponry, which is kind of cool. Some cool new poses that you can do. The Legion darts, all on their own. And then, of course, how he sits on the throne, how it actually looks to recreate the last page of Generation 2's comic book. So, cool stuff. Which also, again, reminds me of things I should have mentioned before. I keep forgetting other things they mentioned. Astro Train was given articulated hands so he could hold Starscream's crown for the coronation scene. Another cool touch. So yeah, I am looking forward to Liege a lot. Let me look over just in case, because there's a bunch of photos of the upcoming toys. You get a better look at Kranix in his flying platypus mode. I want to say this is different from the stock image as well, because I can remember seeing his arms far more clearly in that shot than this one. Might be misremembering, though. Don't hold me to that. See, there's a cool display that shows both battle-damaged Optimus and Megatron at the same time, which is neat to see. So, this apology tour that they are doing this year, like, we're sorry we killed Optimus Prime, here's a bunch of really cool toys to make up for it. You do realize the apology tour is going to end with them repainting this battle damage Optimus Prime into the sleep mode version, don't you? The apology tour is going to end by killing him again. Spoiler alert. But yeah, you can see there's just tons of photos of everything that was on the floor, very much everything that has been revealed in the last few weeks, all there. We also got our first look at Swindle. Officially, our first look at Swindle. He does look pretty good. I'm actually kind of surprised they got so much of the cartoon accurate box design into his torso. That was actually kind of surprising. Looks pretty good. I don't think, oh yeah, we do. We have a vehicle mode shot. He does look a little bit chunky in the vehicle mode because he has to be a foot the size of a tank, so kind of understandable. He's not as bulky as Brawl, though. So he also comes with this extra trailer that forms extra weaponry. You can see it on Bruticus. Bruticus is actually using it as a handgun. So you get extra weaponry for your Bruticus along with your Swindle. That said, you can also notice he's got a bit of an attachment on his shoulder. So, as kind of a reference to how he used Shockwave as a weapon in G1, they've actually they made sure that there was like a way to actually plug the Studio Series Shockwave toy onto the shoulder, which is a weird way to do that, but it's kind of a funny throwback to Shockwave being like an unofficial Combaticon during Combiner Wars. That's actually kind of neat. It's kind of neat. It's probably just an incidental 5mm peg, but you know what? I'll take it. Some painted shots of Studio Series Grimlock, also really cool to see. They're going with the teal. Teal looking good. Yeah, this is okay. Yeah, this is a really impressive figure. I don't know if I could swing it, much as I admittedly like guilty pleasure like these Dinobot designs when they're done properly like this. No, that's going to depend on how the money is when I first see it. We will see. So yeah, I think that's a general update for everything. At least everything that they updated. They showed off, things we've seen before. Not huge deals here or anything. Moving on. We also have comparison shots of the brand new Studio Series Shockwave. Unsurprisingly, he's unchanged in size from his previous iteration, so he comes up, a head shorter than Soundwave. I don't really like this. I feel like he should have been upscaled if he's because he really is small for a Voyager class toy. I would have hoped that if they're gonna redo the mold completely just to remove all of the siege kibble, not kibble, but greeble. I feel like you should have at least given him a little bump up in size so he doesn't look short stacked compared to the two that he's supposed to be rivaled / partnered with. It's just a little bit weird to see him short stacked. Also, they did confirm yes, we're marketing as a spaceship / submarine, but we're not going to stop you from holding it upside down. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Someone third-party company, DNA Design, can even make a handle for this guy ASAP. Moving on to some other toys that were revealed at Toyfair. We actually got the package version for the upcoming soccer Transformer, which I thought was Optimus Prime, because he looks exactly like Optimus Prime. But his name's Breakaway. So they pulled the old movie toy name, and actually for a soccer player, that's a perfect name. So I will absolutely give them that. That's actually pretty cool. I don't think we had many shots of this one. Not really. Showed off the football helmet, guys. I have not seen these anywhere, by the way. And I don't really care about football, so I will never be able to tell you how these toys are. Cool for the people who like it. We did get a shot of the upcoming repaint of Twin Mill in red. It is very hot rod. It is looking very, very cool. I did a review for these guys, and as a reiteration, I'm not terribly thrilled with how they came out, so I'm not sure I'm gonna be going for these. Frankly, I am trying not to just buy any old figure that I see on the shelf just because it's new and pretty. I'm trying to be a little bit more spend cautious this year. So in that, I might be skipping red Twin Mill. Now that said, we still waiting to see what Bone Shaker's repaint is going to look like. I'm curious on that one because I think that one might hit me a little bit better. Let's see. And then we also have, what other reveals do we have? Yes, Star Eagle. So for the 250th anniversary of America, they decided to do a patriotic repaint of Airazor as a very America eagle. Never mind the fact it's not actually an eagle. It is what it is. I'm going to remind everybody, this is the same company that was completely fine with all of the LGBT positive content in IDW, as well as recently releasing a non-binary Transformer. I really do think this is a release they had in mind, but it's just very poorly timed. That's all we are going to say. Do not get political in my comment section. I will delete you. I know, it's just pandering to an audience. That's all it is. It's just a toy that's pandering because it's an opportunity to make money. I'm more disappointed that this seems like it cuts like a Generations release of Blue Bolt completely out of the picture. That's a little bit frustrating to me. This is very close to Blue Bolt, by the way. We can just, aside from the fact it's using the Airazor head and not the Skywarp head, that would have been closer. The shame they didn't do that. We would have been a few paint strokes away from just a normal Blue Bolt. But yeah, I think this is just a toy that's just been way overused at this point. I zero interest in actually picking Airazor up again. I'm also noticing that despite how many times they've released this toy, apparently someone in the photography department does not know that the shoulders flip up. My God, Hasbro, I am begging you, hire someone who actually knows how to transform a Transformer, please. You realize these are marketing tools, right? You realize that if these look bad when you put them out for, marketing purposes, they're not going to do your sales figures any good. Literally, they're not going to sell your figures. Just get it right. Have the engineer standing by going like, no, flip those up. That's all you need. Moving on. Let's talk about Transformers Cyberworld's reveals, because obviously Hasbro didn't do much advertising for those, even though it's the cartoon that's running right now. It was confirmed for Season 2, which is subtitled Energon Surge, so we finally know what that trademark was all about. It's Season 2, and it's going to star Bumblebee. Big surprise. This toy line does actually seem to be doing pretty decently. Like, I was just at Target today. They were sold out of the smaller figures, and they just restocked Grimlock. I can't remember the last time they ever did a second stock of any figure. That said, last they sold them out previously because they marked it down to $25, and if I see it for $25 again, I might grab a Grimlock just for the sake of it because I like his character. But that said, they announced it with another super large figure. I believe this is going to replace Scorponok on the shelves for Season 2. It's still only 4 steps. It's a gigantic Bumblebee who transforms into a theme park cart. Because I don't know what else he's supposed to be. He looks like the jet from Captain Planet without its wings. That's what it looks like. So you have this big tubby Bumblebee with a big light up belly. And the idea for this is the Energon Surge figures have a lot of translucent Energon plastic to them. Good luck with those holding up. And when you put them inside Bumblebee's chest, they will light up along with everything else in Bumblebee that lights up. Okay, kind of neat. You get a light up gimmick, but not one that really takes extra engineering to work with a bunch of other figures. You can see he does have like a masked head mode aside from his normal head. Kind of neat. He also comes with a fly. I'm not sure why he comes with a robotic fly, but he does seem to use it for a bit. He uses it for swords. He uses it for a drill in the vehicle mode. This is a super weird toy. But hey, it's the plot of the next season. Apparently, this next season revolves around like Energon that makes him like super huge for some reason. But there's other cool stuff happening in there. You see the main villain of the season is going to be Shockwave. That's kind of cool. Or Soundwave. Man, I'm getting those mixed up so much today. Oh, I'm thinking Shockwave because I looked at what we're talking about next, which is the toys that were actually at Toyfair, and that includes this Shockwave. Now, for everyone who didn't see this, you're never going to believe what he transforms into. You're never going to believe it, especially because I clicked to the wrong frame. It's a Spinosaurus. For everyone who wanted Shockwave as a Spinosaurus, here you go. It is going to be in the simplified kids line, but it's there. It exists in the universe. Weird. Shockwave's a Dinobot now. Shockwave's a Dinobot. How did that happen? I do think it looks neat. I'm going to get this one. I don't care. It was like one of the 30 odd bucks. Actually, I think this one's smaller, like the size of that not G2 Megatron they released. It's actually just like a Age of Extinction Hound retool, one of those. That one, I think it's around that size. Still neat. So there's others. There are others besides that. Let me go over to the official stock images before I show you the last one, because Shockwave was only one of them that they showed off that doesn't have stock photos yet. This one is our Soundwave. He's looking way creepier than usual. He's very tendrily now, because apparently he turns into this big, I don't know, eldritch horror submarine mode. They're getting weird with Cyberworld. That's all I'm saying. Apparently they're doing a lot of underwater stuff next season. Here's Megatron. He's not a bull anymore for some inexplicable reason. He's very translucent plastic loaded. And now he is a drill tank of questionable usage, considering that drill cannot reach past the front of the vehicle. But at least it looks cool as a vehicle. It looks better than the previous one did. There's Optimus Prime. It's the off-road version, which is a good toy, but, me and clear plastic again. But this one is just a repaint, or rather just swapping out a plastic color, really. That it is what it is. Here's Hound. And Hound is neat, not only because like he has this like exploding energon look to like his torso, but it seems like his chest can actually open and close, which is a little bit extra gimmick they don't normally add to these. And all and again, he gets a weird vehicle mode. It's almost like an Arctic exploration vehicle. It's a weird choice. Weird choices for vehicles this season. At least they're doing something different though, right? They're not just doing like Starscream as a jet. Well, they did that. But you know what I mean. They're not just like shoving out cheap versions of like the old timey characters. They're doing different new things. There's the Bumblebee again. We saw him already. And here's Tigatron. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. Cheetor. They're actually calling him Cheetor. He's Tigatron. He's just straight up Tigatron. I don't know what you're doing here. You're going to see him in yellow at some point. He's going to be a proper Cheetor, and then you're going to name him Tigatron when he's a cheetah. That's a thing I guarantee you would happen. This is ridiculous. It's an animal former, just like Bull Megatron, so it transforms just like them, which incidentally means he just kind of looks like Cheetor no matter what. The first wave Optimus is getting retooled with the same Energon trick as well. I still don't like this one. Like, look how like hollow and weird it looks compared to like how the others turned out. There's actually a few in this wave that actually kind of look pretty good, and they avoid that problem. Okay, so there's a few more to reveal. There's Optimus Primal as a monkey truck. Hey, look, the trunk versus monkey argument and debate is still going on. Now we've decided we'll just mix the two. Screw it. So yeah, we have a new little cyber changer. It is Optimus Primal. And yeah, it's actually kind of a cute little figure. What I do notice about all these Season 2 toys so far is that they do seem like they're trying to change just a standard transformation. Because Cyber World really has like 3 transformations. They're all automorph transformations, but they only seem to have like 3 general shapes: your jet, your car, and then your truck. And that's pretty much it. A few outliers here and there, but for the most part, like all the transformations are very same-ish. So at least it looks like they're trying a few different things here. So I know, kind of neat. And this doesn't even get into the craziest one. Do I have good shots of the craziest one? I have one shot. We're getting a transforming pirate ship. We are getting a transforming pirate ship. It's a ghost ship. You can see by the purple flames on it. This is Cyberworld Scourge. The Seeker. Okay, this is where I'm like really frustrated. There is a box image floating around of him somewhere where you can actually see his artwork, and you can see like the actual full design. Unfortunately, they didn't have him out in robot mode on the floor, and that piece of material that showed him off is not currently available anywhere that I have seen. I've only seen it floating around like Discord or something. It's unfortunate. Stay tuned for a future news roundup when they actually show that off properly, and we'll be able to talk about it in full because it's super cool. It is super cool. Okay, we've gone half an hour. This is a news roundup that covers Toyfair, so you knew this was going to be a very long news roundup. We're not done. This is a part where I should 2-part this. Screw it, we're just going to keep going. It's a big news week when we are half an hour into the news roundup, and only now are we actually talking about Takara announcing its next Masterpiece toy. We are getting Masterpiece Blaster at long last. The interesting thing about the Blaster is it seems like it's not quite cartoon accurate the way a lot of current MPs are. Now, when it's in color, that might change. But it really kind of feels like it comes from an older school of Masterpiece design, almost like they've been sitting on it for a while and just now decided to put it out into the world. My favorite part about this is the fact that Steeljaw is a new mold. So you think about how long that original mold, that the one that became Night Stalker, the one that's been sitting forever, just waiting for the day it got to actually be Steeljaw. And now there's a different Steeljaw. I'm genuinely curious if someone from Takara just had no idea that was released, because it's such a weird, obscure release that they just forgot it existed and just tooled a brand new Steeljaw mold out of nowhere without even thinking about it. It would be hysterical if that's the result, because the transform is very similar. Because I don't think there's too many ways you could work this transformation. Or they just might have seen the old one and go, nah, we could do better. Either way. But yeah, Blaster's on the way. Kind of cool, kind of cool. I mean, they showed off the other cassettes as well, the color schemes that those are going to be in once those are released. Ratbat looking a little bit more dynamic than usual, which is nice. There's Buzzsaw, obviously. Ravage, looking good. And then, the boys. And the colors are far more distinct on Rumble than the last time I saw these toys released. And you make a decision which one I was talking about right there. I do like that they're going to 3-pack one of these instead of just trying to force the 2-pack thing. That way you actually make sure that Ratbat gets out without having to buy another masterpiece in order to get him. That would be way nicer than how they did it before. Now, moving on. They also announced the next Dramatic Capture package, which is a 2-pack this time, and it is Revenge of the Fallen, Optimus Prime, and Jetfire in one box. Not the first time we've seen this kind of release. I believe Hasbro did this as well. However, this time it is a premium paint deco. It's both of the Studio Series toys, so the detail and transformation is already there, but they've also thrown in a lot more paint accuracy. So if you missed it all the other times they did this, you will get one more opportunity to actually get a hold of this combination. These molds have gotten pretty old at this point. They've been doing this for a while now. I would not be surprised if this wasn't the final time for these molds at this point. So if you've been missing out on it, this is probably the release to grab. Just a heads up. Takara's not done. They announced the next Overgear, which is going to be Optimus Prime. And this is fascinating. Do you remember when I was talking about concept BotCon ideas that I had? One of the ideas that I had was an ideology flip, where the Decepticons weren't the military vehicles, they were the normal vehicles blending into society so that the Autobots could not find them. Meanwhile, the Autobots, in an attempt to clear the Decepticons as fast as possible, turned to these heavy machines of war that would give them an advantage over the Decepticons on Earth. This very much feels like the Optimus Prime that would have existed in that concept. It is a military truck, heavily armed. You've got missile batteries, a massive gun. But the overall look and design change to him, I'm actually really, really enjoying. Obviously, the torso and the head are the same, so you get that vibe. What I like is the long nose section becoming these huge shoulder pauldrons. I think that changing the silhouette like that gives him such a different vibe. I really, really like that idea. I really, really like how that looks. And I'm super curious how this guy is going to transform, because you see the orientation of the windshield on his chest, presuming that's not a fake chest. It doesn't look like it because it's got the windshield wipers in the right spot. It looks like that whole torso flips upside down in order to form the windshield of the vehicle mode. So this thing's going to do a crazy bit of transformation, and I really, really want to see what it is. So super cool. Now this just leads you to speculate when Megatron is going to come out and what he's actually going to end up being in Overgear. You can't have Optimus if you don't do a Megatron as well. But starting off with Ironhide and Blackout and changing them so dramatically means we're pretty much in the market for anything at this point. And I'm just super curious about the line in general, not exactly who they're doing. I just want to see what's happening next. Optimus is going to be super weird, because he's probably going to be military colors again, like the other two were, and just traces of blue and red. It's going to be a very distinct Optimus when it's done. Okay. We can move on to silly news now. Skybound is announced their movie deluxe edition. Transformers the movie hit like a lightning bolt. Anyone who's seen it, including me, has at least one moment forever burned into their memory, said senior editor Naish Marshall. Reprinting both the original and the 20th anniversary adaptations of this new volume is a great way to fully experience it again. So whether it was the Marvel comic depiction or the more updated one, you can see the comic book adaptation of the movie once more, which is kind of neat. It's kind of neat that they threw that together. So that's going to be available soon. It's on sale August, so not soon. I take that back. We had a little bit more for Toyfair. Blockies did show off a whole lot. I'm not going to go into it too much because it's mostly stuff that we have seen. Just now we have really good looks at it on the show floor. So they just showed off some of their wheels, some of their vehicle series stuff. Pretty much a whole round of their current product. Man, I want that tiny little Unicron. I really want that tiny little Unicron. I want the Unicron head from version 8 as well. I took a few pulls on those. Got a Blitzwing. Cool, but didn't get the Unicron head. See, they showed off some of the bigger models. They're Tarn in person, in color, which still looks really, really cool. Tarn just looks cool no matter what you do with it. He just does. You know, your Dark of the Moon Megatron. Here's some of the upcoming stuff. So they're doing both halves in their vehicle line, the wheels line. They are going to do both halves of Overlord. Very IDW stylized. Which I think is a very, very cool way of doing things. Iron Fist getting in there as well. Cool to see. Or Fistotron. How do you want to pronounce it? How do you want to proclaim him? Scamper, which is so crazy that Scamper got any new toy whatsoever. All looking good. Here's Megatron in his IDW vehicle mode, something you actually didn't see in the comic books because Megatron tried to be more pacifist, which is kind of cool. So yeah, lots of looks at those. And we're not going to go over all of them because there are a ton of them. We will, however, show off the box for Wave 2 so we can see exactly who we are getting there. So you're getting a heavy focus on Springer and Roadbuster. So between that and Iron Fist, you're getting a lot of Wrecker love here. But starting in from the bottom, you have Breakdown, so they're doing Stunticons next for their combining stuff. Cosmos, which is cool. Pipes, Shatterglass Sideswipe. Scoop, again, weird choice. Run Amok. You got Huffer, the Overlord tank, and the Overlord plane that I showed you. Iron Fist that I showed you. And then 3 different versions of Roadbuster, which appear to be normal, metallic with like extra weaponry, which seems to be how Springer's rolling too. And then the chase for Roadbuster seems to be shattered glass colors, and the chase for Springer seems to be more toy accurate, like heavier leaning on the gray side. So there you go. A bunch more of those for all those who want just toy car Transformers. And after almost 40 minutes of running my mouth about a whole bunch of toy news, that is the news roundup, as I struggle to remember if there's anything I missed in any of this. There was a lot to cover. One little last note. Yes, the reason we're getting Sunstreaker and Wheeljack as repacks is basically they wanted to do them in 86 packaging, but there's really not a lot they could do to improve the molds at this time, except they do see that Sunstreaker needs a spoiler. That part they're working on. Probably means there's some other release coming out later that's going to have that piece you can attach to him. We'll see. But yeah, that's a lot of news. That's a lot of toys coming up. When the news roundup is double-sized, yeah, it's been a big news week. So I'm going to rest my throat a little bit, and I will leave you to speculate and talk about all the cool stuff in the comments below. So thank you everyone for watching. I will see you next time. Hello everyone, I am Astral Agent Magnetar, a Tokusatsu VTuber, and I am streaming 4 times a week over on Twitch, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday afternoons, and a special late night one on late Friday/early Saturday. So come watch, come hang out, and let's make an impact together.